Is this a company that leverages AI for its competitive advantage? Is it really happening? Is it proof positive that the company is able to leverage AI for its competitive advantage? What would you tell us?
Sure. So I'll kind of break the question into two pieces. So us internally, from how we use technology perspective, we're following the market closely. We're trying to make sure that we're, not falling behind or anything. We did release an AI Copilot product this summer, and it's definitely exceeded expectations from adoption. Now, our Copilot's not like a magic box. It's not like you send things into it and it gives you magic answers on the other side. It's really to enhance the user experience. And so it does things like it gives you you can ask it like, hey, how do I set up a data pipeline for syslog? And it'll give you discrete steps on how to do that. We do have to be careful about how much AI we insert into our product, given we're working with sensitive data. Many of our customers are using us for security and mission critical systems. We also sell to the federal government. So we have to be very intentional about how we use AI internally. And so, for example, like if the AI hallucinated, it could have severe consequences for the people in our customer base. But the other side of AI I'll talk about is, let's say that AI is kind of, the skyscraper that's being created in the future here. Cribble's we're the copper wiring, the plumbing inside the building, the cat wires for the network. We're the things that are going to make the building effective. And what I really mean by that is AI is generating all this data, and we're going to see a lot more data. I was talking about that 28% CAGR. That's probably going to go up with AI, and we're going to be instrumental in terms of kind of, making sense of that data and making sure that, kind of reducing the noise there that it's going to create and make sure that people are focusing on the most valuable thing there. Yeah. I'll first say that, nothing you do in finance, you do alone. You're always doing it as a part of a team. But the experience that really jumps out to me was actually my experience at Splunk. And just to kind of take a macro level perspective here, we're in this kind of AI era, and you could argue that AI's been around for multiple decades and everything, but let's just say we're in the era right now where it's becoming more mainstream and the impact is getting broader. Well, if you look kind of a decade ago, and I wouldn't say we're fully through the transformation, cloud was the big transformation that was happening about a decade ago. And so the same thing happened at Splunk, and that was kind of my strategic moment in finance where Splunk at the time sold on-prem software, all right, just like everybody kind of did in that era. And then they were in a process where the world was kind of shifting on them, moving more to cloud. And so we had to figure out how are we going to participate in that world, and how we're going to take our current technology and move it into the cloud. Now, this is where you end up working with a lot of different people across. There's not one single way to do it. It wasn't just like copy paste the code and now you're in the cloud, right? And so there was a lot of questions on how we're going to do it. How do you, pricing? How do we decompose the architecture as such that we can put it into the cloud? Cloud costs. Are we going to go use a public cloud vendor? Are we going to build our own data centers to support our cloud? What's the go-to-market strategy? Now we're no longer selling, to your CapEx budget. We're now selling to your OpEx budget. And so there was all this learning I did from this strategic moment, and it was great. We got to do these outcomes, build it, and I really think of it as my moment because we're sitting there and I'm like, we're comparing data center costs to if we go public cloud, and we're trying to figure out, okay, if we get this many reserved instances and we negotiate this with, a cloud provider, will that be more efficient than we build it ourselves? Do we have the people that can build and stack racks? And this is where, when you're building your own data centers, and I got a lot of experience with that at Ring Central as well, which is like, you're managing energy, you're managing kilowatts. And so there's a lot of complexity there. And it was just like, taking all that complexity and simplifying it for the business was really that moment for me when saying like to our CFO, like, hey, here's what I think is the right decision for us to do moving forward. Here's why, here are the pros and cons, but this is going to give us the most flexibility on the financial outcome. Because at the time we weren't really sure, like, this cloud thing, while it had been a while, we weren't sure if it was this going to be a blip or something that was really, our customers are going to push us to. And so we didn't want to maybe go in too deep and find ourselves where we couldn't get it back out. And so we really wanted a model that, offered that flexibility to us.